Hello everybody and welcome to Bird's Nest Designs. My name is Denise and I am here today to show you how to make this adorable gift card holding card using the press-on stamp set. This is a card that I've designed for my Stamp of the Month club for December. So those of you in the club can follow along with your kit, and those of you who aren't can follow along as well. So let's get started. So I've got a card base out of Real Red that measures 4 1/4 by 11, and I've scored it at 5 1/2, and well, I guess it would be this way. I've scored it at 2 1/2, 5 1/2. So to make the card, you're going to fold the small flap, the 2 1/2 flap, in towards the center of the card, and then you're going to fold again at the 5 1/2 in. So you end up with a card like this. Okay, so once that's folded, I'm just going to give it a burnish with my bone folder here. I like my crisp folds. All right, so we've got it like that. So in your kit, you've also got some early espresso, and this one here measures 4 by 5 1/4, and this one is 2 1/4 by 4. So this one is going to layer on right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this done. Oops. So I just want to attach as many pieces as I can onto the card right now, and then we'll set it aside before we do our stamping. Okay, and then the larger early espresso is going to go on the inside of the card here. Okay, so the card will be like this. Okay, so we've got that. The next thing I want to do is we've got some designer series paper from the Heartwarming Hugs collection. So this is the pattern that I'm using here. The back side is stripes. What I want to do is I want to take this smaller piece here, which I can't remember the measurement of. Let me just tell you. So this is 2 1/4 by 4. So I'm going to attach that. Oops. I'm going to attach that onto the inside flap here. Okay, so now that that's done, I want to make this little circle, half circle, to get the gift card in and out easily. So I'm going to use my 1 1/2 circle punch. You can use any circle that you've got. And I'm just going to slide it in, try and get it centered in about half the circle. Just like that, and then I'm going to punch it out. Okay, so there I've got my nice round or semi-round pull. And I'm going to attach that with adhesive right along the edges here. So I'm going to use my tear tape. You can use whatever adhesive you have. Just make sure that you're using a thin line because you don't want it to hinder the gift card slipping in there. Okay, so just a thin line of tear tape works great. Just like that. And I'm just going to burnish this my bone folder, pull that out. Okay, and then I'm just going to close this up to form the gift card pocket. Okay, so that part of our card is done. Okay, there's our gift card pocket. Now I'm just going to set this aside, and I'll bring this card in so you guys can see what we're doing. And I'm just going to now stamp the images that we need. So again, in your kit, you've got a 3 3/4 by 5 piece of Whisper White. You've got a piece that is 2 1/2 by 3 3/4. And you've got a little scrap piece here with a little hole, which is my indicator that this is your scrap piece for stamping on. Okay? So from the press-on stamp set, we are going to need to use this beautiful line of coffee cups, a cup of thanks, and the to-go cup, and the little heart, and the coffee beans, okay? So I've got all of those stamps ready to go on blocks, and I'm going to use my Early Espresso ink pad. And the first thing I want to do is take my rectangle piece here, and I'm going to randomly stamp the coffee beans in espresso, just completely all over, random. Okay, some off the page so it looks more random, and maybe a little bit right here. Okay, just like that. So not a lot of thought needs to go into it. The more random, the better. And then I am going to color those in using my dark soft suede Stampin' Blends. Okay, so you can use any kind of dark brown that you've got. Color these guys in. Okay. All right, so those guys are all colored in, and I'm just going to set that aside. Next thing I want to do is on this scrap piece marked with the circle punched hole, we're going to stamp our cute little to-go cup. Just going to stamp that anywhere on that piece of paper. Okay. Now I'm going to color the wrap part here. I'm going to use crumb cake, and I'm just going to color the entire band in the light crumb cake. Okay, and so this is how I like to use my Stampin' Blends, is I like to start with the light, like so, and then I like to bring in the dark, and I'm just going to highlight parts of the wrap here, like so. And what's beautiful about these markers is you don't see any of your streak lines when they dry. Okay, so I've got that done, and then I'm going to come in again with the light and just blend over top to blend these together. Like so. Okay, so bring that up to the camera so you can see the shading up close. And then the last thing that we want to do to this cup is stamp the adorable little red heart that's in your press-on stamp set. We're just going to stamp that in real red right here. Just like that. So cute. Oh, I just love this stamp set so much, and I really hope that you guys enjoy it and have a lot of fun creating cards and such with it. So now the next thing we're going to do is fussy cut this cup out, and then we'll proceed with making the rest of the card. There are no dies that go with the set, but this image is very easy to cut out. It's not like there's a lot of intricate lines to follow along with. And like I've told you guys before, if you've watched any of my other videos, the best way to cut is to move the paper and not the scissors, I find. So if you're just going to kind of twist your paper as you're closing down on your scissors, it does make for easier fussy cutting when you do have curves and such. Okay, so we've got our cup done. Now you'll put that aside with our stamped coffee beans, and I'm going to bring in the 3 3/4 by 5 piece. So before I do any stamping, I'm going to take the final piece of our Designer Series paper, which is 1 inch thick by 3 3/4. I'm going to attach that right to the very bottom of the Whisper White piece. So just right at the very bottom, like so. Now I want to stamp this row of coffee cups. So when I mounted my stamp onto the block, I mounted it very close to the top of the block so that I have room here to see for where I'm positioning my cups above the Designer Series paper, if that makes sense. Okay, so now we're going to stamp this right over top of here like so. Okay, and I'm doing mine a little different than I did in the original. But I've got them stamped to this side, which that's okay. And then I'm going to take my Cup of Thanks with the Real Red. And I'm going to stamp that right over top. Like that. Okay, so those guys are going to get colored in. Again, I'm going to use my blends. I'm not going to do a lot of shading because the imagery is very small. So I'm just going to color in some stripes here. Color in this band here. And feel free, obviously, to use whatever colors you want. Switch it up a bit. Add your own personality into your card making. Okay, so that's what I'm going to color in Crumb Cake. And then I'm going to use my Real Red markers, and I'm just going to color in the heart here. And I color these little dots red. And I'm going to color the sleeve here red. Okay. So there we go. Now we're just going to do the final assembly of our card. So I'm going to pull in the card base. This piece here that we just stamped is going to get layered right in here over top of the early espresso. Okay, and that's going to close down just like that, so you can still see that through there. We're going to take the coffee bean piece and we're going to attach that over top of the front flap early espresso. Oops. Oh, I'm going to need to get my adhesive remover there. Okay, so before that gets too yucky, I am going to pull in my adhesive remover, and I'm just going to get rid of that glue that I smudged over there. Okay. All right. Now in your kit, you've got an 18-inch piece of Real Red double stitch satin ribbon, and that's going to get wrapped around and tied in a bow. So in order for mine to look, to keep it looking nice and neat, I'm just going to put a piece of tear tape right here. So I'm not covering the whole piece, just there. And what I want to do with that is I'm going to pull this piece around, attach one end there, okay, and then I'm going to pull this one so that make sure it's straight here. I'm going to pull that over top so it's meeting the other part of the sticky part there, and I'm going to trim that off. So it's not going to look super pretty right there. There's a flap here, but our circle is going to cover it, so I'm not concerned about that at all. So that being said, we're going to take this beautiful script embossed crumb cake circle, and we're going to just bump it up with some dimensionals right over top of where those two ribbons meet. Make sure our script is going the right way. Let's put that on just like that. And then we're going to take our adorable coffee cup that we've colored, and we're going to bump that up over top of the circle. Put on a little bit of an angle, just like that. And our final thing we're going to do is just take this remaining piece of ribbon and we're going to tie a bow. Okay, so my bow I like to tie like this. If it's easier for you, you can also tie your bow directly around that piece of ribbon there. I prefer to tie mine separately and attach them with a glue dot. Okay, so there's my bow. I've got some mini glue dots here. And we're going to just dab that right on top of there and pull it off. And now our adhesive's right there directly on the bow. And I'm going to just stick that on like so. Trim these tails at a nice angle because I think it always makes it look a little more finished. And there we have it. There is our adorable coffee gift card holder. Again, you could make this for any occasion. You could switch it up. You could change the salutation. It's really a fun, beautiful way to present a gift card. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you'll watch some of my other videos. If you like this video, please click like, subscribe to my channel, and I hope to share more videos with you in the near future. Again, thanks for stopping in.